Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back in to the Window Sports Betting Podcast. I am one half of said podcast, and it is about 5 a.m. on a Monday. Couldn't sleep, doing homework, researching, and gonna make a day of it. Got a pod coming on later today, so I kind of wanted to, with Chris, a podcast coming later with Chris for the World Cup, and I kind of wanted to get my basketball out of the way. And then when we do the podcast later, I can run through the baseball really quickly to not beat your eardrums up, not hold you up. But in short, I'm going to recap yesterday. Baseball did what baseball does on a Sunday. We dropped all 3 bets in baseball. It happens. It is what it is. Not really worried about it in that baseball has its ebbs and flows, and this thing goes until November. So I'm not stressing it at all. But to be fully transparent, we lost on the Red Sox, we lost on the Guardians, and we lost on the Nationals. All of them appeared to, all of them blowouts, all of them not even close. So not a bad market read. It's just Major League Baseball Sunday. It is what it is. That's the way it goes. That being said, in the W, we had a good day. We had unfortunately, we had the Portland Fire plus the 8.5 against the Los Angeles Sparks. They could not hang. They couldn't do it. But we had Kelsey Plum over 28.5 points, rebounds, and assists. She got there with 29. Got a little lucky there. I made this bet live on air. Had Marina Mabry over 2.5. 2.5 made threes. It was a bad bet. I had no business betting that game. Especially they were going to blow Chicago out, so she wasn't going to have to shoot threes. It was not a smart bet. But the other one we had was Brittany Sykes over 27.5 points, rebounds, and assists. She got there with 35. So that was a no sweat winner. And we also had the tempo on the money line, our biggest bet of the day, and they ended up winning by about 23 points. So that was great. Great stuff. But let's get into today, Game 3, WNBA Finals, and we here at the To the Window Sports Betting Podcast have a future on the San Antonio Spurs at 10-1 to win the whole thing, and they're not going to do it. I honestly think they're probably they might not make it out of New York alive. If it's going 2-3-2, no, or I think the series is going 2-2 in San Antonio, 2 games in New York, and then 1 in each city alternating. I don't think New York is going to let San Antonio make it out of there alive if they're smart, and they are. They are playing grown man basketball. Wemby looks every bit of 21, 22 years old going against men that are about to be in their 30s. They look every bit as young as they are. It's showing up, and they're going to have to pay the price, and it's a learning experience, and it's going to make them hungrier, and it's going to make them better in the future, and it's going to be good for them. Listen, man, 53 years, good on New York. You have it coming. Hopefully the fans aren't super obnoxious, but we know they're going to be. And listen, if you've been waiting 53 years for a chip and you're this close, do whatever the fuck you want, man. Like, go nuts, man. Go nuts, New York. Enjoy yourself. I really, truly don't care. I've been doing this long enough to know when to cheer for a squad that deserves it. And if anybody does, it's Jalen Brunson, it's Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Deuce McBride, Landry Shamet. Like, all of these guys did it for them. They did it the right way, man. They played in college. They won in college. They got to the league. They took their lumps, especially Brunson, man. All the guys that were talking all that noise when he got traded from Dallas said, he's not this, he's not that. He's shown some true grit. So with that being said, on Polymarket, not even to counteract the Spurs bet, because who cares, it's dead, but you can bet either Brunson or Cat at money on both to win the MVP. So put $5 or $10 on both Cat or Jalen Brunson to win the MVP, because one of those 2 guys are going to win it, and you guarantee yourself a profit. So Cat was at like I could pull it up. I'm not gonna. He was at like plus 130 or plus 140, maybe 150 to win it, and I got Jalen Brunson at plus 115. So this is called arbitrage. And this is where you can find 2+ money bets and guarantee yourself to make some money. And what I'm thinking is, if you take, let's just call it 100. I didn't put 100 on it, but let's just call it 100. If you put 100 on it and on Jalen Brunson to win it at plus 115, you would win $215. So your profit would be $115. Do the same thing with Cat. You would bring back $100 on a plus $150 bet. You'd bring back $150 in profit. So if Brunson wins, you get a free $15. If Cat wins, you get a free $50. If neither one of them win, you lose both bets. But one of those two guys are going to win the MVP for the New York Knicks, and the New York Knicks are winning the NBA championship. It's not a surprise. But let's get into game 3 and how we're going to attack this thing. Gun to my head, being forced to make a pick on this game. Give me the Knicks minus a 2.5. The Knicks on the money line. Gun to my head, if I do more analysis, I like the Spurs in that they are good enough. They're good enough to win this game. They're good enough to steal one in Madison Square Garden and get one game back in San Antonio and push it to 5. And then who knows from there. But the way Mike Brown coaches, as a Cavaliers fan, the way Mike Brown coaches, he's going to have these guys treating this game 3 and this game 4 like a game 7. They're going to treat it like a closeout game, and they're going to be getting after it. So crowd's going to be, Spurs are desperate. Crowd is going to be bananas. I don't know how these young guys on the Spurs are going to handle it, but we'll see. I've got 4 prop plays for tonight, though, that I really like. But before I get into anything further, no motivational stuff today. Me and Chris will get into that later on. But sports betting, listen, involves real risk, real money. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I'm informing you of what I'm doing with mine, and you can make your own decisions based on that. Don't bet what you can't afford to lose. This is supposed to be fun. If you got a problem, it's 1-800-GAMBLER. Call them up, get some help. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not be okay. All right, let's get into this card. First play of props that I love is Mr. Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, over 29.5 points and rebounds. It's the best prop on the board, period. 2 games in this series, he's combined for 30 points and rebounds in game 1. 18 and 12, then 34 in game 2, 21 and 13. The line tonight is 29.5. That's the baseline. His series average is 32. So they set it 2 points below his baseline. I don't know what adjustments they think the Spurs are going to be making, but I think Cat is going to come out on fire. Wemby he's an extraordinary player, but Karl Anthony Towns is a nightmare matchup in that he spaces the floor. And for Wemby specifically, he attacks him in the post with his body. He draws contact at the rim. He competes on the glass, even though Wemby's got him by 5 inches. But the physicality, his body that gets in there, and Wemby is struggling to hold position against Cat. We've seen it twice. The matchup hadn't changed unless they're going to put Bismack Biyombo, who, he's on the Spurs bench. If they're going to put him in the game, or Luke Cornett against Cat, they can't afford to do that because they need Wemby's offense. And he's at Madison Square Garden, man. Like, this place is going to be lit. And I think they are just going to be, they're going to come out on fire, man. This place, that place is going to be electric. God knows the ticket prices are crazy. Shouts out to you if you actually got a ticket and paid for it. Good God, man. But the line is set below its series average. It's the biggest bet on this game tonight. Not touching the side, not touching the total, but Cat over 29.5 points and rebounds. Take that to the window. Let's cash that ticket. Next one, we're taking the Rook that I love that's playing out of his mind. He's playing above. He's playing out of his mind. He's playing great. It's Dylan Harper, over 13.5 points. He's a 20-year-old rookie. Nobody told him to be nervous, because he is not. He's game 1, 16 points off the bench. Game 2, 15 points off the bench. We're getting 1.5 below his average, and they're going to need him. I don't know. De'Aaron Fox is due to do his thing, which he did last game because we had his under and we lost that bet, which is fine. It's no big deal. But 2 games, 2 overs. We're going to take Dylan Harper. He's the most consistent in the way that he plays. If you don't like his points and you're worried about him getting them, his points, rebounds, and assists are worth a look as well. But I like his points over 13.5. Dylan Harper of the San Antonio Spurs over 13.5 points. The third play, this is just a numbers play. It's a data play, and I usually don't like fading superstars. But we're going to take Wemby under 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Yeah, under 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Listen, he might go for 30 points, but the way they're bodying him between Cat and Mitchell Robinson, he's got to put on about 10 or 15 more pounds in the offseason to become the force that he is going to be. He's just not there yet, but he's going to get there. Game 1, he had 26 points, grabbed 12 boards and 2 assists. Hit 40. Game 2, 29 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 40. And now they set this line at 41.5. You know what to do. I don't like fading superstars. I really don't. But this under is screaming for a play. I'm not telling you he's not brilliant. I'm not telling you he's not going to go off. But the assist thing is going to be the bugaboo. And, he can go for 27 and 10. He can go for 27 and 12. But he's not going to have more than 2 or 3 assists. So look at his under assist prop. That's worth a trip to the window, wherever that may be. But after the Marina Mabry debacle yesterday in the WNBA, I'm not, I got to stay disciplined, stick to the script, stick to what I'm supposed to do and the research that I've done. And the last play for Game 3 of the NBA Finals, it's a value play. But again, like I said, I think these guys are coming out on fire, and Cat's going to want to stretch the floor, and I think he's going to flex. He's going to show out. So we're taking him, Mr. Karl Anthony Towns, over 1.5 made threes. Another Nick you might want to look at over 1.5 would be Landry Shamet. In that building, he's good for 2 threes, but I'm not betting it. I'm sticking to the script. Discipline. I am showing discipline. If he's hitting his shots the way he did in Game 2, and we have every reason to think the matchup is going to stay the matchup, they're not going to change that much in their days off. He made 2. Game 1, I think he only shot it a couple of times. But Game 2, he took 5 or 6. He made 2 of them. And at plus money, this is definitely worth a trip to the window. And that's the WNBA card, guys. Our Spurs ticket is dead. But if you're seeing this in time, lock in Brunson and Cat, both of them, for MVP of the finals. They're both at plus money, above plus money. You can bet it blindly, guarantee yourself profit. It might only be $10, might only be $15, but if you saw $20, $15 sitting on the ground, would you pick it up? Yes, you would. And this is what I'm showing you is 10 or 15 to $20 sitting on the ground. If you got a strong conviction on Cat, just bet him solo, but bet both of them, guarantee yourself some money. I'm not, and especially in a series like this, we're not just recklessly, sometimes I get reckless, I do, but I'm attempting to not recklessly just throw out games and props just because I like them. I've got to identify the edge, stay disciplined, let the data lead the way. So that's it for the NBA card. Let's get into the WNBA, the old Commissioner's Cup. And I've got a couple of totals and some spreads tonight. The spreads are crazy in this game, and the injuries are vital, especially in the New York Connecticut matchup. Brittany Griner played 1 game here in Atlanta against the Dream for the Sun. She played for Atlanta for a season last year, and everybody loved her in the city. She was good. She was great for the city, man. She's cool. She's just a cool person. So she played in that game for a reason, just to get up, to play with the old squad and do whatever. And Connecticut kept it close for a time, and then eventually it just got out of hand. They got blown out. It is what it is. But that and Sabrina Ionescu, the reports out of New York are weird because they're conflicting. It's one day it's a back, one day it's her foot, one day it's her back, one day it's her foot. Today it's a back injury. So who knows? They're winning without her, and they're winning by margin without her, and they're rounding into form. Her coming back almost it's not going to hurt them, but it's going to deter them. It's going to slow them down a little bit. But that being said, the spread on this game is the New York Liberty minus 13, Connecticut plus 13, with Sabrina Ionescu out and Brittany Griner out. But here's how we're going to play the game, and here's how we're going to attack this game to make some money. we're going to look at the total, and that's a completely different total. The total's sitting at 162.5 with Griner in the lineup. Granted, it's on limited minutes, and without Ionescu, my numbers have this game at about 155. So that's a 9-point difference that I got to take advantage of that. And I'm going to take advantage, and here's why. Connecticut's offensive rating is 93.4, worst in the entire WNBA, and that's with Griner playing with limited minutes. Now, without her, imagine how far their ratings drop. I'm not even due for a refresh on my model until I've got another 2 games before I update the numbers in there. But without Brittany Griner, it's the worst offense in the league. They're not going to be able to put up a bunch of points. I mean, against Atlanta held them to 6 points for a good 8-minute stretch when they played here, because I was on Connecticut's team total under, which might be worth a look here. But here's what New York knows: they don't have to blow them out. This is the Commissioner's Cup, so point differential matters, but I keep everybody healthy, get on to the next game, and I don't think they're going to blow them out. And without Sabrina Ionescu playing, New York becomes a very much a half-court offense. And Pauline Astier, Marina Johannes, Betnija, Lainey Hamilton, and all those girls, and Breanna Stewart will bring the ball up, but they're not running breaks like that. They're not running fast breaks like that. They're just not. They're just two slow teams right now, and you saw that when Liberty played the Fever the other day. And these two slow teams with the worst offense in the league, one without the engine, one without the lady in the middle that keeps everything going for them. We're on the under. Our biggest bet of the day, under 162.5. Yeah, under 162.5, Liberty and Connecticut Sun. Two props on this game, though. With Brittany Griner out, Miss Anissa Morrow, or rebounds over 11.5 plus money. She's only averaging 10.4. She's leading the league in double doubles. She's averaging a double double, and she's doing that when Brittany Griner was in the lineup for the few games that she was. Griner's out. She's going up against Jonquel Jones, who's not the most athletic anymore. So with her, my opinion is that situationally, with what Connecticut's going to need to try to keep this game close, Anissa Morrow of the Connecticut Sun over 11.5 rebounds is definitely worth a look. And Griner's not in the way, so they need somebody to grab boards. I think it's Anissa Morrow over 11.5 for a unit. Let's take that one to the window as well. And then we're on Breanna Stewart. She just went off for 30 and 18, and some god awful number. She just torched the Indiana Fever. This can be a low scoring game, and Breanna Stewart can still get hers. I think she can get to 20 points here. And I think the guard play between New York and Connecticut, they don't offset. New York has better guards. That's not a question. That's not a debate. But Connecticut's guards are scrappy. They can't shoot for shit. They couldn't throw a ball in the ocean off a battleship, but I think she can get 20 points. Breanna Stewart is good for 20 points by the third quarter. Maybe New York has a big lead. Maybe they don't. If they do have a big lead, Breanna Stewart's feasted. If they don't have a big lead, they're going to need Breanna Stewart to feast later on in the game. So Breanna Stewart over 19.5 points. Let's take that to the window. Let's cash that ticket. Next up is the Fever and Washington Mystics. Both these teams are coming off bad losses. They've got Indiana -5 against this Washington Mystics team, which that line seems a little suspect to me. And it makes me want to take Washington because they are talented. But in my interest of showing discipline and behaving myself, I'm going to stay away from the total on this one as well. And they have the total set at 169.5. 169 points between these two teams. Indiana just barely put up 75 against New York. Washington only put up 77 against Atlanta. Two good defenses. The Fever are attempting to change their defensive identity, it would seem to me, and they're playing much better defense. So I really like the under in this game. I'm not going to say the public, like I know what the public is doing. I am the public along with you, and we're just trying to get better every day. But they're going to look to the over on this game. You got Sonia Citron on one side averaging 17 a game. You got Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hall, Sophie Cunningham. Those girls, they can shoot the lights out. But I just don't think it's a bad travel spot for Washington. They're heading back home, honestly. And Indiana's leaving New York and then heading to Washington. So they've both been traveling for the past few days. Not much practice time. Not that really affects our professional athletes, but asking for 169.5 is a lot. That's more than 80 points each. It's almost 85 points each. And I just don't see it getting there. Couple that with the fact that the Washington Mystics play at the slowest pace in the league. The public's going to like the over. The casual bettor's going to like the over. We are not the casual bettor, or we are attempting not to be the casual bettor. So we're going to take the under. So it's 2 unders. I don't like taking them, but when the numbers tell me to do it, I have to start listening. I'm going to do it. So let's move on to the props for this game. I'm going to get my pen to work. There we go. The prop. This is where we can make some money tonight, in my opinion. Even though we're on the unders on both games, there are certain players here that I think can feast in different ways. They have Miss Kelsey Mitchell of the Indiana Fever over 19.5 points at plus money. She's averaging 21.6 points a game. This line is set below her average. Washington's defensive rating is 109.1, below the league average for guards. Even though she's on the road, plus money on a player averaging above their line, you have to bet it. It's a value bet. At this price, we're not betting the situation, we're betting the price. And this is a great price for a good player to score 20 points. So we need 20 points from Kelsey Mitchell. With a 5-point spread, this game's going to be a lot closer than people think. They're going to see that 5 and jump all over it for Indiana, because they think Indiana should blow them out, because here's the thought process. The Indiana Fever just beat Atlanta at home soundly. Atlanta comes home. Atlanta plays Washington. They beat Washington soundly. Now Washington has to go play Indiana, who just beat Atlanta soundly. Ipso facto, Indiana is going to beat Washington soundly, right? I don't agree. Not enough to bet it, though. I understand the justification for betting Indiana. 5 points seems a little short. That's why we're staying away. We're going to stay on the under. We're going to take Kelsey Mitchell over 19.5 points. And we're also going to take Mrs. Consistency, Miss Aaliyah Boston, over 13.5 points. She's having a career best season, 16.3 points a game. 13.5 seems almost disrespectful, but she is going up against Shakira Austin and Kiki Iriafen. And the bigs for Washington, they can play when they're in a focus spot. And this may or may not be a focus spot, but not enough for them to keep Aaliyah Boston for getting her points. She's playing like a savvy veteran that I've seen. She's just rounding into form, rounding into her own. And I find that it's good to see. And the best value play on the day is the aforementioned Kiki Iriafen. Her rebounds over 9.5 at plus money. She's averaging 10.5 a game. She's third in the entire WNBA, and the line is below her average. Indiana, Aaliyah Boston's a scorer. She's not a dominant interior defender that keeps people off the boards. She's one of the best rebounds Kiki is one of the best rebounders in the league, and I'm getting plus money on her to get double-digit rebounds. I'm going to take it every time, and that's going to do it. I'll have baseball later when I do the pod with Chris, but I'm going to run through the bets for today, and that's 11 of them. We are taking, in the NBA Finals, Victor Wembanyama under 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Put that in your prize picks or your DFS fantasy daily, whatever. You can take, and we're also on for the Spurs, Dylan Harper over 13.5 points. We are on Karl Anthony Towns over 29.5 points and rebounds combined. Also, Mr. Karl Anthony Towns over 1.5 3-point field goals made. Next up to the W, we're taking Breanna Stewart over 19.5 points. Aaliyah Boston of the Fever over 13.5 points. Kiki Iriafen for the Washington Mystics over 9.5 rebounds. Kelsey Mitchell of the Indiana Fever over 19.5 points. Anissa Morrow of the Connecticut Sun over 11.5 rebounds. And we are taking the Washington Mystics Indiana Fever under 169.5. and the Connecticut Sun and New York Liberty under 162.5. That is the card today, guys. 11 bets, lots of research went into it. Let's hope it works out. Had a winning day in the WNBA yesterday, losing day in baseball, which is fine. I might just completely pass on baseball today and just chop it up on some World Cup stuff with Chris. But I will see you guys in a few hours when we record and get this thing edited and out to you. Hope you have a great Monday. Don't bet what you can't afford to lose. If a bet makes you sweat, you are not doing it right. This has been Jemiah from the To The Window Sports Betting Podcast. We will see you on the other side. Love.